Copying isn't cheating. It's how everyone starts. Some people think that imitation is a failure of originality. Even some creative people think it is something to be embarrassed about, rush through, and never admit to. I want to state that imitation is not that at all, and as mentioned before, something to embrace. Not just as encouragement, but as an accurate description of how creative development actually works. Hello, Darren here, the Creative Minimalist, www.thecreativeminimalist.com. Everyone you admire started this way. The evidence is everywhere once you look for it. Hunter S. Thompson typed out The Great Gatsby and A Farewell to Arms, word for word, to understand how Fitzgerald and Hemingway built their sentences. Not to reproduce them, to feel the rhythm from the inside. The Beatles spent years covering Chuck Berry and Little Richard. Paul McCartney learnt his vocal style from Little Richard directly. The influence wasn't hidden, it was studied so thoroughly it became part of them. Visual art students still copy the masters as part of their formal training. Rembrandt, Vermeer et al. Rembrandt, Vermeer et al. Not to produce replicas, but to understand the choices behind the work. This isn't unusual creative behaviour. It's how almost everyone who ends up doing something original starts out. Why copying works, what it teaches you. When you copy the mechanism, the process, the essence behind great work becomes visible. When you just listen or read or look, you experience the end product. The choices that created it are invisible. You feel the effect, which, let's not take anything away here, can be pretty awesome, but you don't necessarily see the cause. When you copy, you discover the sentence works because of a specific rhythm. The chord works because of the note in the bass or root. The image works because of what's out of frame. That discovery is only available through doing. Analysing from the outside gives you a different kind of knowledge. Copying gives you the kind that ends up in your hands. T.S. Eliot wrote, "Immature poets imitate, mature poets steal." The deeper engagement, the one that moves your work forward, is when you take something and make it genuinely yours. How you stop copying and why you can't force it. You don't decide when the imitation or copy phase ends. It ends when your influences have been absorbed so thoroughly they stop showing up as recognizable sources. Bob Dylan arrived in New York in 1961 sounding almost entirely like Woody Guthrie. Same vocal style, same guitar approach, the same folk repertoire. The imitation wasn't hidden, it was total. And yet, within a few years, he had transformed that absorbed tradition into something that had never existed before. You couldn't have predicted the destination from the starting point. The Beatles absorbed their influences so completely that what came out the other side was entirely their own. Thompson copied Fitzgerald and Hemingway so deeply that when he wrote, what emerged was unlike anything before. not despite the copying of it, because of it. Trying to skip this stage in the name of originality is the mistake. Originality develops through influence, not by avoiding it. And so, in closing, stop hiding your influences. Name them, study them, engage with them seriously. They're not evidence of your lack of originality. They're the raw material your originality will grow from. And when your copy doesn't quite match the original, pay attention to the gap. That's not failure. That's the beginning of your own thing. That's your art, your creative space. I'm off to delve deeper into my influences. How about you? Stay safe. I'll see you soon and keep creating. Bye.